Hi everyone, I'm KARRIE Evenson and welcome to KARRIE on Canvas. It has been a very busy time for me this year. So busy in fact that I haven't made time to even get out in my garden and plant some flowers. With 3 kids, school getting out, summer on its way, and lots of art shows, I sometimes feel like I'm going crazy. So, since I can't plant right now, I am going to paint. Tonight we're going to paint some spring flowers using bright and cheerful colors to really give spring a welcome. I hope you're ready, and remember to stay loose and keep it free. Here's what you're going to need. Yupo paper, medium to large paintbrushes, assorted acrylic paint, and fluid acrylics, paper towels or rags. Don't forget your water to keep your brushes clean, and remember to stay free and keep it loose. So I have a special paper, it's called Yupo paper, and basically it's kind of like a thin plastic paper that doesn't absorb water. And the reason I love this is because whenever I start to feel like I'm tightening up in my work, I can really stay loose this way, because really I have no control over the paint. So what I have here is fluid acrylics, which is basically a really watered down acrylic paint. And we start off by using water, and we're going to go ahead and wet the paper. And what I'm doing is I'm just brushing the water on, just like this. Now I have 3 different parts to this painting. So I brought 3 different sheets of Yupo paper that are in different stages because this takes so long to dry. So this first part is to show you how to apply the fluid acrylic to basically make kind of a background, or an entire painting if you want. So we're going to start off with, I think what I'll do is I'll put magenta here on the bottom. And you can see how the paint just kind of flows. And I might mix a little bit of blue. Like that. Rinse my brush off. Okay, apply some yellow in the background. Add a little more water if you feel like it's not flowing enough. Okay, now I'm going to stop there and I'm going to show you something. Now, of course, you want to be careful because if you mix blue and yellow, you're going to get a green, and if you mix the magenta and the yellow, you'll get kind of an orange. However, if you mix the purple and yellow, you're going to get a brown color. So we want to be careful, but I'm going to imprint and press. And you can kind of see the background you get by just taking the corners and covering up some of the white. And if you get brown, I'll show you what to do to get rid of it. It's not a big deal because this wipes off. And even if you mess up or it's something you don't like, you can take rubbing alcohol to wipe the paint away. You want to be careful not to really crease your paper, because if you do that, then it's almost permanent. It's hard to get the creases out. Okay, so I have my paper towel here, and if there's areas that I'm not too sure about, then I just blot them out like this. If I maybe think the blue's too heavy in certain areas, I can blot. And I can come back and add more color. Want to add some orange, you can just come in like this. Of course, orange and blue are going to make a brown, so you have to be careful. Unless you want the brown. I don't. Now, depending on what colors you like or what colors you're painting your flowers, depends on what background you're doing. So you can choose to the colors of your liking. add some more yellow. And you're going to have to let this dry before you apply the paint over it, because it will, it'll blend and muddy up. Just make some impressions. Just like that. And see this brown right here? You can just blot it up just like that. And you can always come back. Here's some more purple at the bottom. If you feel like your paint's too thick, then add some water to your brush. And you can order the Yupo paper online at any of the art supply stores. And you can also order the fluid acrylics that way as well. So basically, that's kind of how you create the pattern in the background. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit of yellow through here. I like this green color it gets right there. So that is how you do the background. Now we're going to set this aside and we're going to let it dry, and I'm going to show you the next stage. So here's a lighter version, and what I have done is kind of sketched on the flower bouquet that I'm anticipating on having. So you can see when it's dry, it has, it feels just like the regular paper did. There's no texture really on it or anything. And what you can do with this now is you could do two things. You can use fluid acrylic, again, to create your flowers, or you can use regular acrylic paint. So I'm going to kind of do a little bit of both. And I'll be honest with you, it's been a long time since I've used fluid acrylic. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do on the show and show you guys something different. So I can't predict how it's going to turn out, but you guys know that already. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and start, get my brush wet a little bit, and start applying just some areas where I think the flowers could go. And the idea that I had was to create a really, really bright piece and then come back after it's dry and take black marker or black paint and outline in a very abstract form the flowers. And you can even take back of your brush and scratch in, just like we do on the regular paints. It sort of is like finger paints, the feel of the paper and the way you use the paints. And I'm going to take some blue. I'm going to come down here and make my vase. Create some shadow. Notice how I'm moving around the painting. We're not staying in one spot. I'm going to create some yellow flowers. Now, if your yellow is hard to show up, you can add some regular white acrylic, just like that. And of course, if you don't have access to get Yupo paper, you can try the same thing on poster board. You're not going to get the watercolor look to it, but you can do this kind of painting in a really loose and free manner by using your poster board. Add some water. Let the colors blend a little bit if you want. I'm going to even take a little bit of my regular acrylic yellow. And a bright yellow maybe, just to... We're just scattering the flowers throughout too. We don't have a real particular order that they're going in. Okay. Now I'm going to mix a blue violet and just create the flowers. You don't have to fill in every little gap either. I know that when I've taught workshops and classes that some of my students feel like they have to fill in every little hole for their when they're doing their bouquet. But you don't. Kind of gives like a tie-dye effect almost. Take a step back a little bit and just look and see, don't rush. Find a place for those flowers. Maybe some right here. Okay. Now I'm going to come back in with a little bit of white and I'm going to apply it over the blue violet. Not on all of them, just on some, just like that. Okay, back to my yellow. A little bit of white. I'm just kind of filling in some of this area where the green is. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of teal. This is the pop color, the color that just kind of pops out. It's always good to have that in your piece. Draws interest to it. Okay, so down at the bottom here, add a little bit of the blue. Magenta, make a little bit of a purple. can really get really crazy with this kind of paint too by just keep going. So always want to make sure I kind of take a step back. I'm going to add a little bit of more yellow to my palette and come back in under here and add some yellow. Now when you have, this is really cool, when you have a Yupo painting that's pretty much, well, that's all the way dry, like the background here, you can actually glaze over it by taking a lighter color, and you can see right here how it's giving the pink a almost golden orange effect. A very warm feeling it's giving it. It's kind of, and you can do that now if you add the yellow over a purple, you will get kind of a brownish tone to it. But I love doing this. So I'm just filling in kind of where that is. All right, let's see here. I think I'm going to take a bright red and just add some red here. And come back in with some blue acrylic. And then take some black. And this is kind of where you create your shadows. You can even use more muted tones in the background if you want it to, just to give the flowers, make the flowers pop out more. That's completely up to you. And I'm going to add some more flowers, like maybe some flower petals down at the bottom here. So take some red and some white. A little bit of blue. Oh, it kind of blends. It's a little too wet, but that's okay. So that gives you an idea of how to get started. Now, I'm looking at this a little bit. I'm kind of seeing what grabs my eye, what gets my attention more. And I think what I want to do is really pop out the magenta just a little bit more before we move on to the final stage. So I'm going to take my regular acrylic and add some white. And I'm just going to add a little bit to some of my magenta pieces, or magenta flowers. That helps quite a bit. So you can see how it really helps it to pop out a bit more. All right, now we're going to set this down. So I'm going to disappear for a second, and then I'm going to come back up with our final stage of our piece. Okay, so of course this looks different than what we just did, but you can kind of see, and we'll come back in and add a little bit more detail to the bottom. See, and as it dries, you can do so much more with it. For instance, if I wanted to add more yellow to this bottom to give it more of a green tone, then I simply take my yellow fluid acrylic and I come in, and it gives it sort of a gold tone. Okay. So the next thing I was going to try to do, if it doesn't work, then I'm just going to get black paint. We're going to use black paint. Marker. It's just a regular black marker you can get at your craft store. And what I would like to try to do is draw in the vase and the flowers and just kind of see what happens. What I'm going to do though is make it very abstract in almost kind of one continuous line, like a lot of contour drawing. This is what experimenting is all about, people. I'm sharing it all with you right here. I have no clue how this will turn out, but this is what I try to encourage you all to do, is to experiment. And then so I thought I'd share that with you because I am a normal artist, normal woman who just practices and tries different things, and that's what I want you to do. This might look really cool, or it might look really bad, I don't know. Moving around here so I don't stick with one spot. Now, after I'm done with the marker, I may come back in with some black paint or some more paint and kind of go in and add more detail. Kind of get the idea. And I think after looking at this, black paint may have been a better choice for me because the marker feels so much more controlled and it's a thin point marker. And I really like to have it more abstract. So I feel very tight using the little marker. But that's how you learn, right? And let's see. So, and I forgot my paint was wet down here. Well, now you kind of get an idea of what I was talking about. You can kind of, maneuver it the way you want to, work around it the way you want to, do it, whatever makes the painting look more like yours. Maybe you like this, maybe you don't. I do particularly like the black paint a little bit better. There. So, you can use your finger to blend. You can see why I was telling you this paper doesn't absorb at all. And so it takes a little bit longer to dry and to apply layers and things like that, but it's a lot of fun. So you can do a lot of different things with it if you'd like. I better stop while I'm ahead or I'm going to end up messing the painting up. See, I can't control myself. I see little things I want to fix and I keep going at it. Add some more teal. Well, you know, we tried. We did it. We'll see. I'll have to take a break and come back to it later on and look at it from a distance, and then I'll decide whether I like it or not. It's kind of hard to do it in 25 minutes or 20 minutes and make a decision just like that. So I can say that painting flowers is almost as enjoyable as planting them. I hope that with your busy schedule, you can make time to paint or plant as well. So many things keep us busy in our lives that it's easy to forget about taking care of ourselves and doing the things that we love. So remember that in all of us is our inner child waiting to create. So show them some love and get out your paints. And if you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you. So feel free to email me at soverycarrie@cox.net, or you can go to my website at carrieevensonart.com. Join me again on Monday and Saturday evenings at 7:30 right here on Jones TV, Channel 22, or visit us at jonestv.org. Until then, I'm Carrie Evenson, and you've been watching Carrie on Canvas.